Hi there. Will you put your code in for me real fast? Hi everyone, we're about to go live on all three channels. I'm so excited to be able to talk to everybody today. I think it's our first live of the new year. Let's go ahead and get live on TikTok too. And we are live on Instagram. This is so much fun. I get to look at myself 3 times here. Okay, hope you guys are doing well. Hang on, let me help these girls for a second. Welcome to my Tuesday Lives. If you've been following me on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, I have been trying to set aside time every Tuesday right around noon to really break down some of the things I've been posting, to talk about current events or issues, and then honestly, to take your questions. So here we go. We're going to jump right in. I had a busy holiday. It was a good one. I went to Istanbul. If you were following me, you probably saw some of the pictures. So fun to be in a different country, in a different culture. Of course, I was bumming around with this Achilles, which I'll have evaluated tomorrow. A little bit nervous about what they're going to say, but despite that, I was determined to make it an amazing trip, and we saw so much incredible stuff. So came back and was super honored to be on the Today Show last week talking about wellness trends in 2023. Now, what is your favorite wellness trends? Have you guys dug into this a little bit or looked at it? There's so many interesting wellness trends right now. I think the most exciting thing for me is that we continue to talk about wellness, that it continues to be something really important for everybody. But on the show, if you didn't catch the segment, I think we have posted a link to it, but on the show, we got to talk about cycle syncing. So does everybody know what cycle syncing is? It's really a very Eastern concept. It's a concept where you honor your hormones. And so you kind of really get educated about where your hormones are, what time of the month you're at. And I know the guys listening are like, okay, I'm out. But stay with me for a second. I promise we're going to talk about other trends and patterns too. This one's a big one though, because the entire veil around hormones and hormone health is slowly being lifted. More and more people are talking about the importance of really paying attention to your hormones and understanding what we need to do about them. So that's something that I am so glad it's becoming a trend. But cycle syncing is understanding that as certain levels of hormones are going up, so specifically in the first week of your cycle, as your estrogen levels are going up, your skin, for example, is much more sensitive. So you shouldn't be exfoliating really hard. You should be using a moisturizer, and you want to eat foods that aren't going to make high estrogen symptoms worse. So that means staying away from alcohol and sugar and a lot of fatty foods and high salt foods. As you move further into your cycle and approach ovulation, you want more high fiber foods, maybe doing a little bit more cardio to really help metabolize those hormones better. And then as you approach the latter part of your cycle, really thinking through a more nurturing or more nourishing diet, getting in lots of liquids, lots of healthy fats, even some carbs, because our bodies crave carbs around that time of the month. And in addition to that, with your exercise, maybe focusing a little bit more on yoga, swimming, walking, Pilates, things that are a little bit more gentle to your body. So have you guys heard of cycle syncing before? Is anyone familiar with that term? If you've got questions about it, please feel free to post below. And remember, I tackle a lot of hormone issues, a lot of women's health issues in my Superwoman Circle. If you guys have not joined the circle, I encourage you to do so. We are actually going to launch my 10-day jumpstart in the circle coming up in the next few days, where it's really an opportunity to reset not just your physical health, but your emotional health as well. So really understanding, like, what are your blocks? Why are you not able sometimes to put the information that you already know into practice and really move forward? So join my Superwoman Circle if you haven't already done so. It's a great community of women. We host our first webinar this Friday. We'll be talking about weight loss and detox for the new year, all the latest research, what folks are saying, and I'll dive into a lot of that, so I hope to see you guys there. And again, we'll post that link as well. Okay, so cycle syncing was one of the trends, but there are others for sure. One of the trends that we started to talk about in the segment, and some that we didn't get a chance to, was how your immune health is really a trend. Paying attention to your immune health, understanding that the gut is connected to the immune system. So being on things like probiotics, making sure you're digesting well, eating foods that are not inflammatory. All of these are ideas that really help you to optimize your immune health. And then even thinking through, as we're still kind of in this winter season and many people are battling COVID and the flu and some of these different illnesses, how are you going to take care of your immune system? So I love astragalus. It's one of my favorite herbs. It's in my East West Way Defender. And that in turn is very helpful in sort of optimizing the immune system. I usually recommend that folks take it once a day. And then if the minute they're feeling bad or starting to feel off, they increase it to about 3 times a day. So keep that in mind as well, that there are ways to manage your immune system and not get sick. And a lot of it is around your gut health, your nutritional health, and then taking immune supporting herbs, things like astragalus. Another favorite is vitamin D and vitamin C. Both of those are really important for the immune system as well. So adding those to your daily regimen this winter is going to be helpful too. So we talked about immune health, and then in addition to that, sleep tracking. Is anyone tracking their sleep? So making sure you're getting sleep, because more and more we're understanding that one of the biggest blocks, and we'll talk about this when we do the webinar coming up, but one of the biggest blocks to weight loss is not getting deep, consistent sleep. So not getting 90 minutes of REM sleep, not getting 90 minutes of deep sleep, not getting the full 7 hours of sleep. And many people are under the sort of false assumption that, you know, if they sleep in or sleep extra on the weekend, they're making up for lost sleep. But what the research is finding is that we are highly, highly dependent on going to bed roughly at the same time and waking up at the same time. There's a natural circadian rhythm. And for many of us that are ignoring that circadian rhythm, that is a part of why we're getting sick or having trouble losing weight or so many other things. So keep in mind that your sleep cycle is really important. I'm trying to be better about this too. I've always been one to like skimp on sleep or think that sleep is not important. But again, I'm trying to get into bed between 10 and 11, getting up between 5 and 6. And there's some nights even I've gone to bed earlier, and you do feel really amazing. And what you'll find is that you don't have the cravings maybe that you normally have, as opposed to a night when you don't sleep. One of the places we've seen that this is so true is if you're using, this is another wellness trend by the way, if you are blood sugar hacking. So that is a big wellness trend for 2023. Understanding where your blood sugars are they high, are they low, what's making them worse, what's making them better. These are all things that more and more of us are dialing into, and understanding that the secret of health and metabolic health and weight loss, all of it really is around blood sugar and blood sugar management. And so it's why somebody like me goes away on vacation and eats maybe not the healthiest foods, maybe does things that I normally don't do, and have really great blood sugars because I'm not stressed and I'm sleeping more. But I come back here and I'm doing my protein smoothies and I'm following all my rules and getting my supplements in, but lo and behold, my blood sugars are not so great. And a lot of that is connected to the central concept around blood sugar management being not just about food, not just about what you're drinking, but also around sleep and your stress levels and your emotional health and so much more. So blood sugar hacking, many folks are doing, and they're doing it on their own, just observing their energy after they eat certain foods, or they're using monitors. So there are different monitors you can order on your own, or you can ask for a prescription. One is the Freestyle Libre, which is the 14-day monitor. You just kind of stick it in your arm and then you can get your blood sugar readings. Or the Dexcom, which I'm actually going to play with. I have one sitting here at home, and I'm going to try to figure out how to put it on and use it, which is a little bit more permanent and lasts longer. But trying to understand where these blood sugars are and what might be triggering a high or an incredibly low blood sugar is really important for weight loss and for hormone health and for so many other factors. I had a patient tell me that she noticed that as long as she moved about 10 minutes after eating dinner, her blood sugar would normalize, and she lost 20 pounds just doing that. So, I mean, not understanding our blood sugar and what's happening there. The other study that was interesting that came out was that the quality of food impacts blood sugar. So processed foods with a lot of pesticides might be impacting our blood sugar and causing insulin resistance, while all of us are over here saying, you know, oh my gosh, I ate too much, I ate too little, having all this guilt and, you know, feeling bad about ourselves, right? Like 90% of the time. A lot of times it's about quality. So what is is your food real? Is it whole? Is it where it needs to be? You know, is it coming from the earth? All these questions. And that ultimately might be impacting our blood sugar more and then counting carbs and doing all this other stuff that we've been trained to do. I noticed this again when I was in Turkey, which remember, is, that Europe, Asia sort of immersion essentially. I ate bread there, had no issues, absolutely no issues. I eat bread here, I start to itch, I start to get bloating and swelling. And the reason is, again, because they mandate that when bread is made, this is all throughout Europe, by the way, when they make bread, it has to rise for a certain amount of time. It has to ferment. And that process of fermentation provides a lot of good bacteria, which in turn manages the gut, which in turn manages blood sugar. I also learned that bread in Europe and the Middle East is made with a softer wheat, not the hard American wheat, and so it actually has less gluten. I didn't know that. I knew that there was a difference, but I didn't know it was down to the type of wheat being used. So again, food quality really makes a difference. And so going gluten-free all the time may not always be, sort of reassurance that you're doing everything right. And I've fallen into that trap too, where you go gluten-free, but you end up doing a lot of the substitutes. And because the substitutes are not high quality, they're spiking blood sugar. And that spike in blood sugar is preventing weight loss or still contributing to inflammation. So something to be aware of there. So blood sugar hacking was another trend for sure as we head into the new year. And then the other one had more to do with just sort of face yoga. Have any of you guys tried that? Like face yoga or tapping as an alternative so that things like fillers and Botox can be delayed to a certain extent. These are things that are super helpful. So just literally tapping like in the places I always hold stress right here. So tapping in here, or even doing face yoga where you're forcing the muscles of the face to relax to a certain extent is very helpful as well. So those were some of the top. Oh, I have one more. And I talked about this on my YouTube channel, mocktails. So people are drinking less. People are drinking less and less and understanding the impacts of alcohol on aging, on our mental health, on our hormone health, and so much more. And today, for those of you on Instagram, I just posted on the feed a study that's out about aging. And essentially, the principles of aging is reversible. It's not something that's inevitable. That's why age is just a number. But the principles are pretty universal. Don't smoke. Try not to drink too much, try not to eat too much, eat a lot more high quality foods, high nutrient dense foods. These are the things that ultimately actually reverse aging or help lengthen something called our telomeres, which sit on the end of our DNA molecules and help us with kind of how fast or how slow we're aging. So again, think about all the things that you can do as you're heading into 2023 to take ownership of your health, to really monitor your health, make sure that you're doing the right things for you, whether you jump on a wellness trend that we've talked about here, or you start a program, do the Jumpstart with me, or you join my Superwoman Circle. Take action, do something that will help you move forward with your health, because ultimately that's when you feel good about yourself, is when amazing things happen, and that's when the magic begins. So I'll stop there and see if you guys have questions, and we'll go from there.
Michelle said, thoughts on food sensitivities and gut health?
Great question, and I think we're posting some content about that on the CenterSpring site soon, but we do a lot of food sensitivity testing in my practice, CenterSpring MD, and a lot of that is connected to, are there foods that are triggering an inflammatory response for you? So we just talked about gluten, for example, right? So gluten could be a food for some that you don't have an instant reaction to, but you have a food sensitivity to, and over time is creating a leaky gut, or a gut that can't absorb the nutrients from food. That in turn triggers inflammation, impacts your hormones, your mental health, your energy, your nutrient balance, and so much more. So yes, food sensitivities absolutely impact gut health. You can test for them. There are many different tests out there. You really want to take the main ideas from those tests. You don't want to get super hung up on all the minutia that those tests provide. But again, yes, that is an important idea, and it is important to dive into that to understand your overall gut health. Okay, any more?
We have a comment by nutrition coach Anika. Yes, our body gives us signs. We need to tap into them, and once we do, we are able to gauge what's working and what's not.
Definitely. And tapping into your body's wisdom is a skill. It takes some patience, and it takes some understanding to like listen to your body. Your body's talking to you all the time. I think getting sick is the worst, right? Or my little injury here that's forced me to slow down a little bit. Sometimes it's a wham if you're not listening, so it's really important to listen. But little things like your hair is falling, your skin is changing, your energy is off, your tongue is coated, right? We've talked about looking at the tongue and understanding what a tongue coating means. These are all things that are helpful in trying to understand what your body is doing and how your body is talking to you.
And then we have another question. It says, "Hi, Dr. Taz. Do you recommend metal or jade gua sha for facial?"
Metal or jade? I love a good jade gua sha. I like the natural stone, right? I don't have one in front of me, but I would show you guys. But anytime you gua sha, you want to kind of gua sha through these trigger points. I hold most of mine right here in my jaw. Then you can come up here and release them from your forehead. And then you're working your way down and sort of out, because that'll help the lymphatic drainage when you gua sha, for sure. All right, any more?
New to all of this, what program should I start with?
New to everything. Why don't you start with my 10-day jumpstart? I think that's a great way to jump into everything. And then maybe if you're motivated, join the Superwoman Circle so you can keep this dialogue on health going and you know kind of what direction to take. But I think the 10-day jumpstart is a great introductory way to really come into this conversation for sure.
And we have one. Does walking 30 minutes a day help lower blood sugar?
Yes, absolutely. Walking helps to regulate blood sugar, right? Not drop it low to where you're feeling dizzy and hypoglycemic, but helping to bring blood sugar down, especially after a meal, which in turn will help with minimizing how much insulin is produced and preventing you from storing fat.
Travis said, "Hey, Dr. Taz, Travis here.
Hi, Travis. How are you?
What is the daily dose of vitamin D drops?"
That's a great question. In the winter, I usually say around 2,000 every day. Unless you're very low, then you can up to 5,000. In the summer, we usually drop down to about 1,000 a day. All right. Do we have a couple more? Any more questions? Or we're doing okay here? I'd love to know where everybody's from. Where are you guys from? Are you joining for the first time? Is everybody here in the U.S. or do we have people from all over? It's always fun to bring the community together and understand kind of where we're all coming in from. No more questions? Okay. Well, good deal. So I will have that webinar, remember, on Friday, and we'll be talking about weight loss and detox. To get access to the webinar, you have to join the Superwoman Circle, so feel free to join that. Men, I know you want a program too. We'll probably create a program just for men as well, because I feel like you guys need your own space to be able to share ideas. So join the Superwoman Circle if you want access to the webinar and then the 10-day jumpstart. For those of you that subscribe right here on Instagram, we'll give you access to that program so you can start that and maybe even share what's working, what's not working. So hopefully lots of resources to help everyone get healthy as we tackle into this new year. I'm going to have a lot of hormone content coming up. We'll have a lot of just breaking news and breaking studies, focusing in again on all things that really impact our health, but most importantly, approaching it from an Eastern, Western perspective, bringing both these systems of medicine together to really give everybody the answers they need, answers that work, and again, with minimal side effects. So thank you so much for joining me, and we'll continue to be live on most Tuesdays, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.